Hello, this is Mike again. I am back today to create another video. I am currently out in the middle of the woods, this really interesting place. It's this long abandoned trail in both directions. Pretty awesome place, very peaceful out here, and it would be a very good place to create a video. I wanted to talk about 3 things that I have been practicing that are absolutely essential to living a balanced and healthy life. I was gonna call this like 3 golden keys to being happy or something like that, something lofty, but then I was thinking that's kind of silly because it's very simple things. They correspond to the 3-6-9 pattern I talk about a lot, which is the geometry of the tree of life, the flower of life. And it's 3 things that I found that if I don't regularly practice these things consistently in my life, I get out of balance. I get ungrounded, and I get caught up in my head of worrying about things and not being able to just enjoy myself the way I am. And the first one of these is these three things is kind of interesting because the first one and the last one kind of reflect each other, and the middle one is just in the middle, which is a reflection of the what I call the 3-6-9 creation pattern. The first one is self-care. And self-care in my mind means having a consistent practice of doing what you need to physically maintain and care for yourself and to keep your physical body healthy and strong. And for different people, different things may be appropriate, but for me, it's primarily eating as healthy as I can, drinking enough water, exercising, as well as going out into places like this where I feel close to the earth and feel grounded and in my body. Self-care is a reflection of the third point I'm going to talk about, which is self-love. Except self-care is self-love expressed physically to maintain and you could say to glorify your body and to celebrate your body as being holy and divine. Because a lot of people don't understand that to worship your body doesn't mean that you're on an ego trip. It means that you've learned to feel good about being healthy and celebrating your body. Because whenever you do that, you can feel that what you're doing, you're equally doing for everyone else, because we all share the same consciousness. So self-care is the first thing, which is the foundation for the other 2. Self-care is physical health. And like I said, everyone has to go on their own exploration to find what works for them. It's like a healthy diet, exercise, being outside. For some people, it might be very important to be around healthy, be in healthy relationships and with others that bring out our highest potential. For me, I'm more of a solitary person. I don't have a problem with being around other people, but I usually prefer to be on my own. But yeah, so self-care is extremely important, and a lot of people undervalue it. And so that leads into the second thing, which is kind of a bridge between a bridge between physical care and spiritual care, which is self-love, which is the last point I want to talk about. But the second one, that's the bridge between the two, is creativity. And creativity means being able to physically express your spiritual self in whatever way resonates in your soul. For me, I kind of struggle to have a consistent practice where I consistently work to create the same thing. Meaning, I create music. I love writing and drawing. I do drawing a lot of like sacred geometry. And so I kind of do all those things. I kind of struggle in specializing in one thing. So I tend to blend them all together and kind of just do my own thing. But creativity is what happens when you have a firm foundation of self-care and physical health, because it's a bridge between your spiritual self and your physical self. And being creative, everyone is creative. Everyone is always doing something to express themselves. A lot of people may do it unconsciously and in ways that it's not very beneficial, through addictions or worrying, using your imagination against yourself. I've done that plenty. However, I'm actively seeking to not do it as often as I used to. So creativity is just so important. We're here to create the way the Creator created us. And so creativity is a bridge where our physical health can reach toward our spiritual health. And so that leads into the last point I wanted to talk about. The third important thing to cultivate in your life is self-love. And self-love is the spiritual reflection of self-care for your physical body. Your spiritual body needs to be cared for. And what I mean by that is you need to honor your spiritual self is who you are equally as much as your physical self. The spiritual self doesn't need you to do certain things for it to be complete. It's already real. Your spiritual self is the real you that exists outside of time and doesn't change and is already complete and perfect. But self-love is how you connect to your higher self. It's how you learn to honor your higher self as you. And it's a mirror of self-care, because you can't connect to your higher self and realize that ultimately you are your higher self without physically being healthy and allowing your body to be a space where your higher self can descend into form, and realize that your higher self and your physical self are ultimately the same. Your physical self is just a way your higher self is expressing itself. In the same way that the creativity is the bridge between your higher self and your physical self, that creativity is how your higher self is experiencing itself as you. And so when you participate in being creative and expressing what you're passionate about and what's important to you, that gives your higher self a place to begin to grow within you like a seed. And self-love means allowing that seed to grow and honoring that you are divine, you are holy, the way you are. And yeah, you're always going to be creating new stuff and desiring new things. But when self-care is really important to you, then you're able to just allow your higher self to become who you are by simply being. And then that's whenever you can become strong enough and powerful enough, physically and mentally and spiritually, to really step into your creativity and create what you want. And that's not because you need to get somewhere else to be happy. No. Self-love means that you already are that happiness. You just have to learn to honor and accept who you are and be with yourself. To love yourself means that you realize that you are always one with your desire to be who you are, to love yourself, to not have any distance between who you are right now and who you want to be. Can you be your own best friend? Can you be your own soulmate? I think for a lot of people that's probably the holy grail of what they think about, is the perfect soulmate. But what if you can be your own soulmate? What if you can love yourself the way that you've always dreamed someone can love you? I mean, your higher self didn't create you as half of a puzzle and, to always worry about never finding the other piece. We are the whole puzzle. But in self-love is the master puzzle completer that allows us to realize that this puzzle is just us worrying about creations of fear that don't have any power outside of the power you give it. And so that's the 3 keys I wanted to talk about. Self-care is physically corresponding to 9 and 10 on the tree of life. Self-care allows your higher self to begin to find a safe place to descend into human form. And then 6, creativity. That corresponds to the center of the tree of life, where that's where your higher self is, your Christ self. And you connect to that through creativity, through expressing what you want to create in the world, through love and compassion, and what you want to share with others. What do you want to leave behind when you're gone someday? And then self-love corresponds to 1, 2, and 3, the Holy Trinity on the tree of life, which is the reflection of self-care, where the physical and spiritual reunite and transform back into each other. And self-love, same thing. Self-love is how you learn that you are your higher self. You can completely accept who you are as the divine in form. And you're not the only one. Everyone is divine in form. And when you realize that, all you want to do is just share this, that everyone can realize that they are the divine in human form. And that's how the earth will ascend. That's how all of the crazy fear wars, for lack of a better term, will end, because everyone shares the same divine consciousness. And as long as we fight about it and resist who we are, then that's as long as the conflicts will continue. But these 3 keys are what I think is just the most essential practices to live a balanced, aligned, centered life, just becoming one with your higher self, not out of force of your individual will, but by the alignment to the will of your higher self. And with that, I'm going to end the video. I'm surprised that no one is on this trail today. It's just a beautiful day, and it's just no one out here except us. All right, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.